Have you ever had someone speak to you with so much disrespect that your mind went blank? Hours later, you think of the perfect comeback, but by then it's too late. What if you could flip that script? What if, the next time someone tried to disrespect you, you didn't just survive it, you ended it with one move they never saw coming? This video is your playbook. 7 cold, calculated responses inspired by Stoic philosophy that leave rude people stunned, exposed, and completely speechless. You won't raise your voice, you won't lose your cool, but they'll feel it, and they'll never forget it. Number 1, the shock of silence. There's a part of you that wants to fight back when someone is rude to you, like when they make fun of you, interrupt you, or use passive-aggressive language. Your heart rate goes up. Your thoughts are going fast. The words come quickly and clearly. When they treat you badly, you want to protect yourself, put them in their place, and treat them even worse. But that's what they really want. They want to muck you up, because they feel strong there. But when you stop talking, everything changes. Being able to stay calm in the face of chaos is what real power and strength are. That's why being quiet is so terrible. It's not because they are afraid. It's not being weak. It makes sense. Control is it. You keep quiet not because you don't want to say something, but because what you could say isn't worth the trouble. Epictetus said, if someone says bad things about you and they're telling the truth, correct them. If they're lying, laugh at them. That laugh turns into silence, but it's deeper and scarier. It's the refusal to take part. The rude person in front of you, waiting for a response, thinks it's the scariest thing in the world. They are ready for noise. They are ready for anger. They think there will be a fight. When you don't give them anything, they move when you just look at them. If you do it in a calm way and maybe with a hint of interest, you took the air out of their fire. They are now left alone with the smoke. That's what being quiet does. It makes them feel bad about being insulted without you having to do anything. A mirror can be seen through it, and rude people don't usually like seeing how they really look when no one else is around. But here's the trick. You have to own the silence. It can't be shy or quiet. You have to be able to back it up with facts. Just picture a mountain in the middle of a storm. Even though the wind howls, it pours rain, and lightning strikes, the mountain doesn't move. That's the peace you give. That's the power you have. Marcus Aurelius went through more deception, stress, and criticism than most people could handle. He once said, "Be like the cliff that the waves keep breaking against. It stands firm and calms the fury of the water around it." Arguing with a rude person won't stop them from being rude. Just stand still to stop it. That silence is heavy. It says more than any smart answer could. It says, I'm not at your level. I'm not going to join your chaos. Your words don't reach me, so I don't need to answer. That's what really makes people jumpy. Not your anger, but your calm. Not your comments, but just being there. As soon as they understand they can't bother you or change your energy, the balance of power changes completely. All of a sudden, they're seen. In the middle of their show, they're on stage by themselves, and the crowd has stopped talking. They know that no one is paying attention to them. They understand that they are the only ones having fun. When someone is rude to you, don't be rude back. Do not move. Do not even talk. Take a look. Take deep breaths. Let them hear their own voices in the empty space you leave behind. Because of the quiet, that's strength. That's the first and best tool you have. They can't just stand there and say nothing. It takes away their power. Number 2, ask the one question they can't answer. Are you okay? Is a question that you should ask after you have achieved silence, when the atmosphere is thick and uncomfortable, and when they are not expecting it. relaxed, explicitly. That is not sarcastic, not feeling anything. Be steady, please. The power dynamic is completely flipped by that query. Since you have just brought to light their instability, they are no longer the aggressor, for the simple reason that people who are properly grounded do not go out of their way to be impolite. It's causing them pain. There is a lack of equilibrium. They are imposing their will. In the past, Seneca was quoted as saying, "A wise man is indifferent to insults." This question, which is asked with a calm and confident demeanor, is not about caring. Simply put, you need to demonstrate that you are not the one who is unstable. The kind of blow that is delivered without raising your voice is the kind that is described here. When you ask someone, "Are you okay?" in the appropriate manner, that is, with a measured, neutral, and tension-free tone, you are doing something that is potentially harmful to the rude person. While it does not accuse someone, it does hold a mirror up to their behavior and reflects it back to them. Instead, it compels people to conduct an inward assessment of themselves. After that, they are required to pause and ask themselves, "Why did I just say that? How come I am behaving in such a manner?" In addition, the damage is done even if they do not respond verbally during the conversation, because nobody wants to be perceived as someone who is unstable. The last thing anyone wants is to have the impression that their rudeness exposes their own vulnerability. You have transformed their aggressive behavior into something that is pathetic. The beginning of their disintegration may be seen in this moment. In addition to that, this maneuver possesses an extremely stoic quality. That is not a form of retaliation. You're not trying to be moralistic. As Epictetus instructed, when someone does something wrong, immediately say to yourself, "It seemed right to him." You are carrying out an observation, just as Epictetus instructed. At that very instant, you realize that their actions are not connected to you in any way. Any storm that they are harboring within themselves is the subject of this. "Are you okay?" is the verbal equivalent of walking out of the storm and seeing someone struggle with their own rain cloud. There is no other way to put it. And here's the truth. The majority of people who act out are suffering from unresolved sorrow in their lives. Perhaps the cause is stress. It's possible that it's insecurity. Maybe it's out of jealousy. It doesn't matter what it is, however. They want to shift the responsibility onto someone else. They want you to be the one to bear it. However, if you choose not to fight back and instead approach the situation with the precision and composure of a surgeon, you demonstrate that the load they are carrying is not yours to bear. You are not going to bear their disorder, and you are not going to participate in their drama. It is before you. It is your choice. Without ever raising your voice, you deliver it back to them without making a sound. This question is so potent because it not only diffuses the situation at hand, but it also leaves an impact that stays with you for a long time. Even after a few hours have passed, that impolite individual will continue to play it. For the sake of preserving their ego, they might even get more enraged in the short term. However, on a deeper level, they will experience feelings of vulnerability because you did not consider them as a threat. Rather, you treated them as if they were an injured animal. Furthermore, nobody wants to be perceived as being weak. There was no argument from you. You did not come across as insulting. You only forced them to look in the mirror, which is a much more cruel act than any offense that could ever be committed against them. If someone comes at you with resentment or disdain in the future, you should not allow them to bring you down. You shouldn't make an effort to outdo their rudeness. Hold your breath. Take a hold. Then, in a calm manner, inquire, "Are you okay?" with nothing but clarity, poise, and the question that they will never forget, you may walk away with the knowledge that you have just broken their facade. Number 3, mirror their words without emotion. One of the most effective methods for diffusing and dominating an impolite person is to mirror their remarks back to them in a more calm manner. "You always mess things up," they say, and your response is, "You think I always mess things up?" To which they respond, "There is no sarcasm. There is no shouting." To clarify things, the use of this method compels individuals to listen to what they have just stated, devoid of any drama and presented in a chilly manner. It causes them to wriggle and writhe. Mostly due to the fact that the majority of individuals don't genuinely believe their own cruel behavior until they see it back at them. This is not an attack. Rather, you are merely holding up a mirror, and the reflection is frequently more unattractive than they had anticipated. It is self-exposure that you are providing, and you do not need to say anything new in order to do so. All of this is surgical, managed and organized. There is no way that you are attempting to impart knowledge upon them by means of a lengthy explanation. By giving them their own words, you are essentially giving them a blade and allowing them to experience how sharp they actually were. Mostly due to the fact that people tend to exaggerate when they talk from their emotions, particularly when they are angry or bitter. What they say is unquestionable, and when those same words bounce back at them, with no passion, no reaction, they suddenly feel the weight of their exaggeration coming back to them. They are embarrassed by it, and during that uncomfortable time, you've taken control of the situation. The Stoics were of the belief that clarity was superior than chaos. It was written by Marcus Aurelius that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You are putting that insight into practice when you respond to someone who has thrown venom at you by maintaining a neutral posture and a calm tone of voice. You are not lowering yourself to their level. You are able to remain above the din. It is precisely this contrast between their emotional disorder and your calm response that places you in a position of power without resorting to aggression. Although it is not overt, this strategy is quite destructive. When you mimic the rudeness of another person, you are holding them accountable in the moment. You are demonstrating to them exactly how they sound. Furthermore, the majority of individuals are not prepared for that level of honesty. They anticipate a response, an outburst, or a rebuttal from the other party. On the other hand, if you respond to their insult in a calm manner, you remove the element of drama from it. Currently, it is nothing more than a chilly statement that is floating in the air between the two of you, and they are the ones who are responsible for owning it. The following is what takes place. They begin to reverse their course of action. The response was, "Well, that's not what I meant." You may also say, "I was just frustrated." This is the defense mechanism taking effect, because they are aware on some level that they have gone too far, but they were hoping that you wouldn't notice or that you wouldn't care. It is as if you are saying, "I see exactly what you said," when you mirror someone else. And I am not going to ignore it. I'm just not going to let it have any power over me. In addition, the silent confrontation is significantly more frightening than any yelling could possibly be. The majority of people are accustomed to dispute that escalates into pandemonium. You may break the pattern. However, if you maintain your composure and simply respond to their statements in a manner that is reminiscent of a clear reflection, you bring to their attention the fact that every word they utter creates an impression, and you are not hesitant to let them see it. There is no need to exaggerate the situation. You're not exaggerating the situation. You are merely allowing them to remain in it. That is the Stoic way of doing things. That's power without the accompanying cacophony. And as soon as they realize that you are not going to play their game, they lose the desire to continue to push. Number 4, command the room with composure. People often forget that rudeness doesn't just happen between two people. Other people can see it too. There are people watching you at all times, whether you're in a meeting, a group chat, or a room full of strangers. They can tell what you're feeling by touching you. They're keeping track of your appearance. When someone insults you in public, they're not just being mean, they're also seeing how stable you are in front of other people. So how you answer is even more important. You literally own the room when you stay cool, collected, and grounded in front of that crowd. Without putting in much thought, distractions can be louder than yelling. If someone is rude to you in public and raises their voice, jabs, or makes fun of you, most people think you will either shrink or blow up. That being said, you send a message when you stop, breathe, and face the chaos with calm. You show you're not scared. There's no noise that bothers you. Another important thing is that you're not playing for the crowd. You're following your principles. Due to punishment, anyone who is paying attention will respect that kind of energy right away. Ignore arguing about what a good man should be, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Take a stand. That's exactly what this situation calls for. You don't need to show that you're smart, grown up, or in charge. Simply be it. The way you stand says it. The way you look says it all. You seem to not care about the rude comment because you let it float there. This isn't just fixing things. It has an effect. People will think about your silent strength for a long time after the moment is over. What people really appreciate is self-control. Really, especially when it's clear that you could hurt someone with words but don't. Being careful isn't a sign of weakness. That's some scary strength. The kind that changes how other people see you. The kind that changes the mood of the moment. As soon as the rude person gets worse and you stay calm, everyone can see that they're not in charge. Not at all. And that difference can't be denied. Furthermore, this is where leaders are made, not by running other people's lives, but by taking charge of your own. Stoics thought that real power came from inside. People who are not in charge of themselves are not free, according to Epictetus. You are setting a good example when you stay calm in public and don't let your emotions get the best of you. People are learning how to carry themselves from you. You're teaching rather than talking, and leaders like that don't need praise. There is a quiet respect for it. Actually, they look smaller when they're louder, and your impact gets bigger as you calm down. The person who didn't flinch is what people remember, not the noise. They weren't trading cheap shots. While someone else tried to shake the ground, that person stood still like a rock. How powerful that is. That is power. In those kinds of situations, strangers become friends, doubters become supporters, and chaos into chance. Number 5. Cut deep with icy kindness. Being kind does not necessarily entail being gentle. A tone of voice that is calm and a smile that is collected can sometimes be the most icy and cutting blade. Every time someone disrespects you, makes an attempt to humiliate you, or acts aggressively towards you, they anticipate a fight from you. They are looking for commotion. Arousing your ego is exactly what they desire. The moment, however, that you respond to their wrath with a calm and concentrated kindness, something shifts. It is more damaging than any other insult. You make eye contact with them while maintaining a calm and steady demeanor, and you say something straightforward like, "I hope your day gets better," or "I wish you well." There is no sarcasm. There is no ridicule. It is nothing but silence and grace. That alone has the potential to completely change the power dynamic. This works so effectively because it undermines their narrative, which is the reason why it is so effective. Discourteous individuals thrive on strife. They derive their sustenance from reactions. They want to believe that you are the same as they are, defensive, impetuous, and easily irritated. Nevertheless, when you demonstrate the contrary, when you do not fight fire with fire, but rather answer with a level head, you push them to evaluate the behavior that they have been engaging in within themselves. Not a mirror of their wrath, but a mirror of what they lack, you become a reflection of them. Discipline is required, in command. Self-respect. It is via this contrast that their vulnerability is brought to light, and it does so in public, without you ever having to raise your voice. When it comes to this particular situation, the philosophy of Epictetus acts like a hammer. Once upon a time, he made the following statement: if someone is successful in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in you being provoked. This indicates that the instant you allow someone to get under your skin, you have already given up control of the situation. Someone who did not deserve to have control of your inner world has been given the reins of your inner world. In contrast, you demonstrate the opposite behavior when you answer with chilly friendliness. You demonstrate that you have strengthened your mental capacity. You have constructed something within yourself that is impervious to any insult. That exemplifies true strength. Assume the following scenario. Someone insults you in front of other people. Incompetent, sluggish, or even worse, they label you as such. Everybody anticipates a confrontation. On the other hand, you glance at them with a serene expression on your face and reply, "You must be having a difficult day." The impact of just one statement, when delivered with grace, is greater than that of any response, due to the fact that the focus has shifted now. Their belligerence appears to be out of alignment. Your elegance draws attention to the acrimony they possess. Additionally, it is made quite evident to everyone who is watching, who is in charge, and who is falling apart. Putting on an act of kindness is not the question here. It all comes down to selecting your weapon. Additionally, there are occasions when kindness, when it is cold, deliberate, and pure, can become the most lethal response of all others. This does not intensify, rather it disarms. Instead of humiliating, it displays the truth. It's not at all your intention to crush them. In doing so, you are demonstrating to them that they have never controlled you in the first place. You never participated in their game in any way. You were operating from a location that was quite high below it. It is precisely in those instances when you remain motionless while others are shaking that you are able to win the war without having to engage in any combat. Stoic philosophy instructs us to respond rather than react. According to a quote attributed to Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Be sure not to stoop. Avert your voice. Allow your silence to utterly torment them. Your composure should be heard more clearly than their insults. In addition, when they leave, they will recall your face because they will be perplexed, unsettled, and exposed. It wasn't because you were severe, rather it was because you weren't. Mostly due to the fact that you smiled and remained on the mountain when they attempted to drag you into turmoil instead. This is a cry of compassion. That's power with a touch of accuracy. Number 6. Don't let them live rent-free in your head. It's not always the moment itself that breaks you. Sometimes it's the sound that follows. The rude word may have only been said for a second, but it can stay with you for days. You can hear their tone, you think about how you reacted, You think of better ways to respond, better words. It doesn't change anything, though. That's the trick. In your thoughts, getting ready for a rematch makes you think you're getting stronger, but all you're really doing is giving them free rent. That's what being rude really costs. Not the insult itself, but the power you give up afterward. Strength is tried not in the heat of battle, but in the cold silence that follows. What happens when you're in bed, staring at the ceiling, and thinking about a talk you had with someone who has since moved on? That's when Stoic restraint comes in handy. Right there is where you tell yourself, this person doesn't deserve my peace. Now is not the time, by no means, because thinking about them takes away from the moment. Their poison gets into places they weren't supposed to be. Then you start to suffer needlessly. Seneca said, "We suffer more in our thoughts than in real life." These words are more clear here than anywhere else. That insensitive person? What they said was true. It looked bad. It might even be mean. They're gone now, though. You are giving their words new life, which is the only reason they still exist. It's still open because of you. You are picking at the cut. But the truth is that you can change the repeat. You can press stop. You can turn off the voice. When you do that, you get peace back, which is something most people never get back. Giving up doesn't make you weak. It means you're strong enough to put your own mind first. It means you know your energy is valuable and don't waste it on people who have already shown they can't pay for it. It's not about them to forgive. It's about getting away from things. It's not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to move on without their words holding you back. Imagine that your mind is a stronghold. Not everyone should be able to get in, even more so for those who only came to damage the walls. If you let a rude word stick, that person is free to occupy your thoughts, take up your time, and bother your peace while they go about their own business. That is not fair. That's hurting yourself. It stops when you say it does. So leave, not just physically, but also in your mind. Take off, stop talking. Do not bring up the moment again. It belongs in the past. Let them deal with their anger on their own. Do not pull it behind you like a chain. It's not the perfect attack that makes the best comeback. It can be found in not caring. As we forget, they got you, but you never let them see that you were hurt. You can't be broken once you master this. Stop giving away the keys to your peace. And the quiet in your mind? That is not nothingness. That's toughness. That sounds like freedom. Number 7, walk away first and win without a word. Walking away is the last and worst thing you can do. Don't argue. You're not proving anything. You just go away. Not because they are angry, not in a big way, but in charge, with no doubt. You're telling them that their energy, words, and attempts to get you to react don't matter when you walk away first. It is the most powerful move ever. The high road isn't easier because you picked it. It's because you don't want to deal with the noise. It's clear that you don't need to fight for your peace as soon as you turn your back and start to walk away. That's enough for you. I'll let you speak. Who are you? You already know. What you're worth is already clear. But it won't matter if the rude person keeps talking or tries to get worse by yelling at you. In this case, you are no longer involved. You now have all the power because you crossed that line. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. Seneca wisely said. He really meant this. You're not trying to beat the other person. They're just trying to keep you from being bothered. When you choose peace over conflict, you become impossible to hurt. Consistency is like a wall around you. They lose when you walk away soundly sure of yourself. Don't say that because you were rude. Not since you got into a verbal battle. That's why you didn't waste any more time on something or someone that wasn't important. you might want to stay in the present, to try to get the last word, to give them one last blow that will make them feel bad about being rude. But here's the truth. The best way to make them feel bad about what they did is to leave first. The quiet you leave behind says a lot. Anything you said doesn't sound as good as that. You are in charge of your feelings, your deeds, and your time, it says. That is a message that gets through. They'll feel the weight of your leaving long after the talk is over, and they'll know they didn't bother you. When you walk away, you stop following their rules, which is magic. You're not giving them a fight when they want one. You've decided to stay away from the drama completely. It's like leaving the stage when the curtain goes down. There may still be people in the crowd, but the show is over. But you're mentally, emotionally, and physically done with that rude person. They might still try to make things worse. They're stuck in the room trying to figure out what went wrong while you left it alone. Power like this doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be shown. It's not big. It's in how you handle things and leave with a quiet power that no one can ignore. Fighting back isn't really a win. The real victory is getting away from all the chaos. When you do that, you not only win the fight, you also win the peace. If someone insults you, don't try to match their chaos. Don't try to argue with them louder. Hold on tight, concentrate, develop your strength. Let it be quiet. Request the tough question, then reflect them. Take control of the room. Cut softly. Get them out of there. Don't act like they were important. They weren't. You'll be the one who soars above a world that is consumed by reaction. Through influence, not force. Because real strength doesn't make a lot of noise. There is no noise. There is no change. That's Stoic. And if this way of thinking is helping you, please join. We are learning how to lead in silence as well as how to react. Everyone is looking.